Okay guys, so welcome back. We're here today with a super special guest, one of our very favourite people in the golf industry. I'm going to embarrass her by saying that. We have Lindsay Knowlton, who's one of our ambassadors here at TXG, one of our coaches. And we're listening to you guys and the feedback you've been giving us that sometimes the fits we do are with people who are a little quicker than the average viewer who's watching the channel.
A lot of the time we do that,
yeah. Right, and it's fun to see someone hit it 300 yards, but the reality is that's a real luxury in golf, and it's not where everyone lives in that zone. So Lindsay's an unbelievable player with a really decorated college sort of resume, great player, but she swings at the same speed as most people watching here. I mean, right now, driver swing speed for you is probably kind of like mid to low 90s.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So hitting it, how far roughly, Linz? What do you think?
I would say with my driver, probably around anywhere between 230 and 240.
Brilliant. And everyone, I'm sure, watching will be going, that's me too.
Yeah.
So this is why this is great that we can now go, all right, for that player, this is a different, solution.
Yeah, and I think we filmed some earlier today. We're on the trend of we're going to try to get a lot of different swing speeds and players and tendencies, people that hit hooks and slices, and just really try to get just a little more variety, I guess, in our testing.
Yeah. It's got to be something you guys can relate to. So, Linz, let's just chat a little bit about your current gamer.
Yeah.
This relic.
This is an oldie but a goodie.
I know.
I've had this R9 460 Taylomade driver forever.
Yep.
And whether it's mental, golf is of course 90% mental. I believe in it. I like the sound. I like the feel. And to be honest, I like the consistency. I can feel it in the air. I know where it is, and it produces a lot of fairways for me.
Without a doubt. And that's normally what we see is when someone's had a club in the bag for so long, it's because it's not that bad. It's not broken, or it would have been out the bag. You would have given it the boot a while ago.
Absolutely.
So for those who aren't as familiar, R9 460, which is what this is. This was like an early edition of like an M2 or an M4. Right. So at the time there was the R9, which was the more technical product, which had weights. Yep. R9 was the first driver to have the adjustable sleeve, which Taylomade called FCT, flight control technology. Yep. So this was a slightly bigger, more sort of speed and MOI orientated head. Right. Okay. So I was actually still working for Taylomade at the time when this one comes out, so I'm super familiar with it. Yeah. The Matrix X-Con 5 shaft, which was in it, so 50 grams. Yeah. A little bit softer tip profile designed to kind of kick it up in the air, and you do hit it relatively high with it, don't you?
Pretty high. Yeah, it can get up there. Yeah, I've got a 9.5 head. Okay. Set on just a tiny slight draw. Okay, a little bit closed in the setting. So 9.5, probably closed, 1 degree to play 10 in actual loft is what the delivered loft will be. Love it, excellent. And you're quite happy with the ball flight with it. It's like you say, you hit a lot of fairways, it's pretty straight, Linz. Yeah, I hit a lot of fairways. It's pretty straight. Yeah. Distance-wise, like everyone, I'd always love to get a little bit more out of my shots, maybe a little more of a penetrating ball flight. Okay. If I can, but otherwise, between 230, 240 never hurts me. Yeah. Probably in my iron game, I'd like to kick up the distance a little bit more, and for sure in my 3-wood, it's very spinny.
There's 2 more videos coming up.
I was going to say, sounds like another video.
2 more videos.
Yeah.
Love it, excellent. Yeah. Okay, well let's take a little look. Let's hit some, and we're using your golf ball, which is the TP5. Yep. Which you like, and that gives us some consistency to that. So let's see if you.
Okay.
There, Linz. Fairway found?
Yeah, so fairway found, missed drive.
Sure, yeah. Not your usual to sort of hit it with a little bit of a fade, but we did catch it a hair low in the heel.
Swing.
So that's sort of the drive for me that I try to avoid.
You don't like to see that little fade?
I do not like the high fade.
Okay.
So even though that's a 230, to me, that's a weak shot. Yeah. Any bit of wind, and that thing's gone.
That would have been my first question. So into the wind, you find you're, losing a lot into the wind with your driver?
Yeah. I would say a fair amount. Yeah. I mean, I would tee it down. I would probably play it a little bit differently. Hit more of a knockdown shot, ball back in my stance a little bit if I'm trying to hit it really low, like Ireland low. But otherwise, it's pretty consistent.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting one because Lindsay actually struck that really good. It
was a great strike,
really great in the strike. So the face was just hung a little bit open.
Yep.
And this is why, like, Lindsay doesn't like to see the fade because she already hits it quite high, but when the spin kicks up, that's when there's an issue. So like 16 launch is okay if, and I have the luxury of knowing Lindsay's game pretty well to know you are pretty low spin when you hit it good. 2200, where even at the warp when we're hitting a couple just getting you loose there, 21, 2200, those are complemented by high launch angles. 2800 RPMs of backspin's not complemented by a high launch angle, so that's where the ball floats a little bit. So it's a little exposed up there.
More of that.
It's a little too soft. It doesn't quite have that kind of that oomph behind it that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see a couple more.
Okay.
Very straight.
Hitting the tour fade, you could be here for a few days and you would always say the same thing.
It's not like watching me hit balls at all.
Lindsay doesn't miss
mixed bag. So I see what you're saying, like 17 degrees.
Like this is where I know we do see Lindsay.
A little higher strike maybe would have been the reason for it.
100%. Yep. You're getting good.
Oh yeah.
Catch this.
So I do listen a bit actually.
Spin is down. I mean, dynamic loft at 21 though, so delivered loft at 21 is where we've lost a little bit of ball speed. So we increase the dynamic loft. We don't get quite as square a collision. So we don't quite hit it as far.
So we were doing a fitting earlier, different player characteristics obviously, but I think you had mentioned 17 was the number that
dynamic
you're looking
for? I like to see 17. Around 17 is about ideal, and we've got Lindsay right in that window where we like to see
the 2 degrees up.
2 degrees up, so it's been a bit of a theme today with a couple of people at 2 degrees up, which we love to see, but I think I don't know if this is an interesting thing for you. Are you normally out to in?
I don't love that path.
No.
So that's something probably in my own game that I've fought for a really, really long time.
Okay.
And you see it a lot less in the irons.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get to the longer club into the driver, it gets a bit more out to in. And so that would be, just trying to probably in my own work, stabilizing my body a little bit better, making a really good turn.
For sure.
And trying to square up that path a little bit more because I'm losing distance by having that X, that out to in with a bit of that open face.
Without a doubt, when you get, and that's a great point. Before really I was ever that well versed in TrackMan back in like 06, 07 when I first got a TrackMan. There was no TrackMan University to learn that stuff at that point. So, you kind of make the correlation at that point that, okay, when the club's moving in that direction, with the face pointing in that direction, both masses are not aligned. So you're going to get a glancing blow, which loses energy, which creates excess spin, which all these adverse things happen.
Right.
And when you align the mass with the face, great things happen. We get that higher ball speed, we get more consistent launch and spin. And that's really what you're looking for, isn't it, Lindsay?
Yeah. And so, if I were to go away and work on my own game, which I need to for sure, is working on that path, most definitely, and that would instantly jump up distance-wise and consistency.
Yeah. Okay, good. I mean, that's a nice little sort of selection with yours. On the right-hand side for sure, a little bit high in the angle of descent, Matty. So
now you're challenging me. That's too high?
Okay, too high.
I was going to say I thought that was pretty good, so that's too high.
It needs to be about 5 less. Peak height is a little floaty, needs to be closer for Lindsay, needs to be closer to about 90 feet.
Right.
So
what I was going to ask is, we obviously have dived into the numbers a lot, but just simplifying that idea of a shot that's too high. There's a bunch of different ways for something to be too high. It can spin up too high, but it can also launch too high and kind of stay up there with spin. So all your energy is just going into height. It's not going into downrange yardage.
And the one other variable in that for height is velocity.
Velocity,
right? Okay. So if you take someone who has 150 miles an hour ball speed, someone who has 175 miles an hour ball speed, and give them the exact same launch and spin, the 175 guy hits it way higher.
Way higher.
Way higher.
Gotcha.
So that's the thing with Lindsay. If we're going to try and get a little more ball speed, we are going to nudge this launch and spin down a little bit on average. So probably more like 14, 15 launch with maybe 2200 spin. I mean, Lindsay's just autopilot when it comes to hitting the fairways. So we can chase the distance a little bit more with you, which is good fun. You know, we can just get a few extra yards out it.
Who would this, like 17 launch, 2800, let's take those numbers.
Yeah.
Who is that good for? Like what kind of ball speed?
Definitely the slower swing speed. Like if you were maybe 80 miles an hour with the driver, high 70s with the driver.
Because that's a question we've got quite a bit is, you know, on that lower end, what am I looking for? So that's interesting to see. So if you're around 80, that's kind of what you have in mind.
Yeah, that spin being on the higher end is what creates lift.
And you want to keep that ball in the air because there's less pace to it. Gotcha.
Without a doubt. Okay, Linz, good driver. You've had it for a long time. It's definitely not you know, dysfunctional, but we can improve on it. That's for sure.
Great.
All right, Linz. So we have put together something a little bit different for you. We grabbed the M4. We thought that, you know, keeping it in the higher MOI, but kind of keeping the high ball speed, thought that was the right thing to do. We went 9.5 with the draw setting. We actually went the D type. So just naturally that one with the weighting sitting back there in the heel is going to just allow that face to rotate a little bit easier. Lindsay and I were just talking there about, you know, different ways to influence face angle and just internal weighting is a big part. I mean, M4, there's been a massive change from how much weight is at the back of M4 versus M2, literally double.
So it's more towards the back of M4.
So so they now have 41 grams at the back of the M4 head versus last year it was around, you know, 20, 22, somewhere around about that. So massive amount of weight saved, and that was the new technologies by having hammerhead at the front, saving some of that weight in the face, allowed them to move it a little further back into where they want it, so the face can then be the club can be a little bit more draw biased than this one.
Interesting.
Okay. Shaft wise, we've went with TPT, which you guys probably in the channel maybe heard us talk a little bit about now, a real phenomenal addition to our shaft wall. So Linz, this is about 52 grams, so keeping the weight similar to what you've got, but this shaft is so stable. You know, we'll talk a little bit about, you know, the properties of it a little later on. We'll see if it works for you and we can chat about it, but let's hit a couple and see how it goes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah.
Dead straight.
Good.
Yeah.
A little bit more in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it. Kaylin, so great strike. You're wearing out the middle of the club. So you're interesting. So your club head speed is spiked a hair. Dynamic loft is still, it's went higher, but the launch and the spin has came way down.
Yeah, it has.
Okay, as has the launch. Fascinating. Okay, so we're definitely getting a little bit more out of this one already.
Wow.
Okay, Linz, let's hit a few more.
Is it possible for someone to get more club head speed just from changing the shaft if it fits them better?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. If the I mean, because ultimately that's what the shaft is designed to do, is
delivering
produce
the
energy.
Yeah.
It's a spring, so it's designed to store and release energy, and if it does that, works in deflection appropriately, it should give you a higher ball speed. Sorry, club head speed.
It was interesting about the shaft weight. I remember, Ian, when you and I were working together one time, and just for fun, you threw me a super light shaft, and I could not hit the ball straight. Couldn't. It was going everywhere. It was everywhere because I actually couldn't feel where it was here. So it was hard to feel the confidence to deliver it back square.
100%. And you have that typical good player's move where you shallow a little bit in your downswing. So, you know, for you to change planes slightly, weight is essential. Like if you get the type of player who just stays on plane, you know, and just delivers it back and forward, that player you can actually take the weight down a little bit because there isn't that moment in time where they change from one plane to another where they need to know where the club is. So it's very dependent on the player type whether you can actually do that or not.
That's interesting.
Cool.
Okay, let's see a couple more with this.
Okay.
much different ball flight, Lindsay. It's
much
more down the left side, which I think you prefer to see that, don't you?
And like no curvature at all.
No,
like it really doesn't.
Is taking off like a
Definitely. Well, we were chatting a little bit about that, sort of keeping, see what that face-to-path relationship would be, and it was a little bit too open with the other one, which is giving us the odd little fade. Let's see what the strikes are comparatively. So a little more centered with this one.
Pretty close, yeah. If anything, that toe strike that's not going to create a fade, so it's a pretty comparable strike.
Is the last shot Ian the highest one?
In terms of the height lens?
Sorry, the last one I hit is the top one? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, the bottom one lens.
It's the bottom one.
That one there,
okay.
Yeah. So it was the highest, 89 feet. Quite similar. So we've said 90. I think.
You did say 90, yeah.
Looking back at the top of the show, we said we thought 90 would be perfect. Feel so far, Linz? Happy?
Really good.
Feels good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
That shaft is so good. I don't think any time we've done a video with it and I've hit it, Sean hit it when he was here, everyone loves it. They say the same thing. It feels great. It's not too stiff, and there's not a lot of bad feedback from that one.
A little more draw.
I was trying to hit a bit of a draw there.
Trying to see if you could turn it.
Yeah.
You did.
Interesting. Definitely lower spin with this driver. Quite a lot. Quite a lot less.
So the launch does seem to have come down. That's a higher one, but it's come down on average.
And you know what? As long as Lindsay's kind of keeping that launch around 15, which is kind of 14.5, 15, 16, 16, 15, 3. That's awesome because she's spinning it less. So
her longest drives will be like that 14.5, 2000 spin kind of number.
See such a difference there. There's the longest drives with the other one were kind of mid 233, ish. Now we're looking at it being 250 something.
So it's already 20 yards.
That's a big pickup.
Yeah.
And we're starting catering a little bit more towards your desired shot shape, which is to draw it a little bit more as well.
No, this is amazing.
Good.
Yeah. I'm taking it.
Yeah. So.
But there's like that internal weighting in that club. It's not so dramatic and like closed-faced that it's still a versatile club for someone like Lindsay that's a good player that would probably still hit shots with it. It's not like it's a crazy offset driver.
That's something we would probably ask Lindsay to test is like, okay, on will, if you play a little hole that's shaped left to right, can you cut one in there?
Shape it? Yeah.
Making sure you have that ability to have it balanced.
That's part of the process for sure. I can see that,
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hit a couple more,
okay.
and we'll try some others.
That one felt pretty high on the face.
I could hear the pitch change.
Yeah.
And actually it's launched out higher, spun really low, Linz, and it's you've not got quite as much run out it because it was a little higher.
I mean, that's amazing because that actually felt like a miss.
Yeah.
And it still got out there 240.
There we go. So
we're
16 millimeters high.
But really only 2 mile an hour ball speed off of what her good strikes were with the R9. So that's good retention.
Yeah. You're going to like that one, Lindsay.
Yeah.
That one's got some serious heat behind it.
You could see the way it was coming in, just so much shallower.
Yeah. Really good.
It just,
that's great.
Yeah, ball
really
speed
good.
spiked up a lot there. Launch and spin are fantastic. Timing it really nicely because we can see that from the impact location. Lindsay's able to deliver the sweet spot to the back of the ball.
Like that's where you want to hit it. If you miss a little high, she hasn't hit a single one low.
I mean, if you're not going to hit it in the heart of the club, if we stray high, you actually sacrifice nothing, absolutely nothing in terms of the launch, the distance.
Can we compare club speed and ball speed on that last one? Would be great. So we got it was 134 ball speed.
134 ball speed on that last one, 134.4.
Okay.
So launch came down because it was a slightly lower hit in the head, and the spin was still right around that 2000 mark, 2100.
And what club head speed do we have for that? Just curious if it, so 94. Okay, so it wasn't not like that was the fastest swing.
Yeah,
it was a good speed swing, but not a lot of output from that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
Feels amazing.
That's really cool. Right, let's try. Why don't we try? When we're seeing a lot of the left side of the line, let's try the neutral 9.5 and see what that does. Okay, Linz. So really good with that last one. We liked what we saw. Distance took a big jump. The only thing we saw was maybe the odd shot sneaking a little bit too far down the left-hand side.
Yeah. Maybe
a bit too pulley. So let's see if we neutralise that. We were trying the M4 D type. So we're going to go just with the standard 9.5 M4 now. Okay. Let's hit a couple with that one. We're going to stick with the same shaft. This is like a high launch, low spin.
It's a great hit.
Really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
That's a great shot. So good. 15 and 23. So that's kind of creeping in that direction that you were talking about.
It's super efficient. And you know, the efficiency is
I haven't seen that. I don't think we've seen 1.46.
1.46 is when you're really smashing
it.
You're really, really good at going.
Even with an ugly swing on that one.
If that's an ugly swing, I don't know what to say.
That was not good.
Great hit.
Yeah, this might actually even be a bit longer.
Oh!
Wow.
It is longer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic. So I think the question people will have now is, you went back to a non-draw head. Why is she hitting it straighter? My guess would be shaft change is really suiting the swing better and delivering it more square.
Like when you see someone with a particular shaft combination in the club head, there's a real, you got to be so aware of their body language when they're hitting it. So like when Lindsay started hitting that one, there was certain things that you were doing that you looked super comfortable straight away.
Yeah.
Like you would hit a couple and like you'd have a little smile.
Yeah.
Did like things like that. Like okay, now I know that she's enjoying it. I watch your speed and you kind of step up the ladder a little bit, so you start swinging a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
You know, all those sorts of things tell me you're super comfortable with what you've got going on. And then, you know, we had that orange circle which was a little down the left side, so you know it was nice to be gaining the distance, but I didn't feel like the driver was fully under our control.
Yeah.
And that's where, going back to the standard one, we've kind of kept the launch and spin exactly where we wanted it. We've just added a little bit more, distance to it.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. It feels really good.
It looks really good. I mean, that's going to have a pretty significant gain on the course.
It's 30 yards.
Yeah. And it's 230 versus 250.
But like we've been talking about, it's not like an erratic 30 yards.
No,
you hit that straighter, like you would have more confidence in that on the course.
Yeah.
And you gain 20 to 30 yards. And so that's, I think people will, you know, this is obviously the R9 was a much older model, so the technology's come a long way, but you know, the ball speed picked up from the head change and the shaft change and stuff like that. It's I think when people say I gained 30 yards with the new driver, it's not that it's not possible, but there's reasons why it occurs. Like if the launch conditions are off and they're not optimal, sure, you can pick up 30 yards because there's things that were way off.
Yeah, definitely.
And consistency wise, it's, you know, you kind of got the best of both worlds on that.
And that driver was custom fit for me too.
I know, that's right.
Which is something, you know, that's kind of amazing to remember, is that I'm coming in with stuff that's already been fit. And so you're just, you know, crushing it.
Well, you know, the thing with the amount of time it's been since you were fit for that driver, and this is a topic that's been touched on a little bit recently by some other YouTube channels, is, you know, trying a club from 2009 and does it compare to a club from 2018, and go, well, it's not so much that the club doesn't work. You've changed a little bit. You know, your swing has changed a little bit, so what you need is maybe not exactly what you need. Maybe the ball you play is slightly different in the characteristics. So just that driver just doesn't quite fit your mold anymore, the way that this one does. So, you know, we change and we evolve, and that's a long time for a driver to work, and it's been good for you. And it's not, like I said, if someone walked in and the 16 launch and 2500 spin, we'd go pretty good. But we know it could be better. And we're really, it's whether we have the luxury to lower the spin that much is really down to the player's skill level.
So someone who's not as consistent as Lindsay, which is probably the majority of people that play golf. Yeah. 300 more spin, 400, well, what's best?
Yeah,
something like that?
Something with a little bit more spin, just to make sure that when that face angle sort of inconsistency appears, that we have a little more spin just to stabilize the ball flight a little bit more. And guys, we're really listening to your comments when you go, why is that spin axis, why is it tilt less when you have more backspin? And we were talking a little bit.
It's a big question, yeah.
I'll deliver that video in the next couple of weeks. Matt and I are working on it, so we'll talk to you a little bit about D-plane, and we won't go too crazy in detail, but we'll explain to you how the D-plane basically changes when your spin loft changes and your face to path relationship and all that.
That's going to be a really good video.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth touching on because we talk about it a lot, so we should explain it.
I don't even understand it. So when you were talking about it when we had a meeting just about our next videos, I thought that just 2 minutes of chatting was good for my knowledge. So I would like to see us really kind of tackle that for people.
We'll do that for sure. Okay, Linz, we're really going to test this driver for you because we've kept you waiting and you've been waiting on the tee for 5 minutes while the group in front of the fairway. Let's see how it goes now.
Okay,
good idea.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sounded really good.
Not that one.
God, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Great swing. Yeah, so it's landing where your old one would roll out to, plus you're getting 20, 30 yards of roll.
It feels unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have so much control to be able to go after it a little bit more.
That's where you're, as you said, the club can influence the swing because she's got more confidence in that and a little more speed, a little more. Yeah, it's really cool.
Love it. I mean, I think we've kind of we've got to the punchline.
Absolutely.
Really, really good, Lindsay. I don't think really, honestly, I don't know if you could squeeze another yard out of it. I think 262, 261 is. I mean, that's
pretty happy with that.
Pretty darn good. So just obviously getting on the course and getting even more comfortable with it. Just wait to see what it feels like then, because this is just day one.
Yeah,
so
this is
great.
That's
the fun bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. That was so much fun for us. I hope this was a little bit more along the lines of the speeds that you swing at back home, and you can relate to that. And one thing you'll be going, the speeds are the same, but the skill level's not the same because Lindsay doesn't miss it, and we get that.
Yeah,
as well.
someone's gonna.
We're gonna get some higher handicappers in, and what I would actually quite like to do, I'm not going to say this to Matt yet, but I would like to open it up to you guys to come in and for us to offer some of our viewers to come in and actually participate in the videos with us and interact, because that's what this thing's all about.
100%. And I think the reason that a video with someone like Lindsay is good, because we want to test apples to apples with clubs, and so the more consistent the swing, I think it makes the data more legitimate. However, there's a lot of questions, and there's a whole other aspect to this, which is, should I get fit if I'm not consistent? So to me, that whole video is a whole series. So if we're testing, is M3 better than M4? Lindsay is the best person I've probably ever met to test that, because she can actually show you the difference. But there's so many people that want to know, like, I can't hit the ball very consistently. Should I even bother? I'd love to see someone come in and get that experience.
Well, we were kind of hoping to test twist face today.
We were. But
it's
we
never
not
got
happening.
The chance.
No.
There's no twist face in the middle of the club. So no, we'll get there towards that one. But guys, thanks so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.